after you have sorted that one out, essentially what we can do here, the next step, is if you have any reference images, we can just drag and drop them in. So I might want this one, and I might want to drag, make this guy a little bit bigger, as it's a bit small. Let me resize this quickly. Oh. I have resized my guy. You might not have a reference, then, and I'm also just gonna, I won't be like overlaying this or anything. I'm just merely just trying to use it as a kind of guide for me. After that, I would name this ref, for example, and lock the layer so that I can't touch it. So the next step is we're going to want to work out the proportions of these guys. As you can see, this guy's got a massive head, long legs, kind of relatively shorter body, and a kind of normal sized arms and hands. So we're going to try to use this as our like proportion guide, our stylistic guide, and we're going to start off using the ellipse tool to make a ellipse, for example. What we do here is make a new layer, and then we can make a ellipse and make the width as shown. Maybe I need it a bit bigger, but we can just resize as necessary, holding shift to be able to make it bigger or smaller. I want it to have a relatively big head, and I want to change the color, so I'm gonna invert this, and then I'm gonna go this one with the hollow inside is the stroke color. So I don't want my stroke to be white, so I can just turn it off by clicking on this button over here. And a thing that is really useful and handy is on the views, and we can turn on Smart Guide. Smart Guide is over here, it's already on. The hotkey for that is Control U, and this just essentially allows us to move and snap to certain things. If we turn it off, we don't snap anymore, and we have a free kind of free transformation, and that's really important for when you need to actually stick everything quite precisely next to each other, so it just snaps onto anything that you'll need. After that, I'm going to go into the box tool, for example, and I'm going to block out the rest of the body. So for example, this can be very rough. I'm gonna go and have this sort of body for the dude. I'm gonna also turn on smart snapping as well. Another tool that is really useful is to press V to get the selection tool, and if you hold Alt now, you can duplicate. So I'm gonna duplicate this one over. I'm gonna snap the head along as well, and because I want this long proportion, I will go ahead and make this guy a little bit longer as well. So if I hover over here, and I can make him have long legs, it's a little bit too thick for my taste. So maybe I'll make it a little bit less thick like that, and line them up again. And because of how we done it, we can change the proportions always. And what I know, this looks very simple, but this allows us to get the basic proportions correct, such as if I were to change the shape of it to be a bigger body and maybe shorter legs, I can do so and have a general grasp of what I want to look at. But I kind of like this kind of setup, and I will also make a little feet for this guy. So I will duplicate this again. Ooh, I stop holding Alt too early. Make a little bit of a feet, and we're going to do a little side profile for this guy. So if anyone's wondering what I'm trying to be making, I'm trying to make a side profile. This guy's got some long feet. I might not end up making the thing exactly the same as this guy, but you have your joke. You can make whatever you want. I'm just showing you the basic tools and how you would go about making a character using the tools in Illustrator. Once you're happy with shapes, let's just rename our layers to keep it organized. So this will be our proportions. And we're just gonna quickly highlight everything and change this to a light color, so that so we can use it as a reference to build onto our base, such as a light teal color, like so. Once you're happy with the proportions, you can always go back to editing whenever you want, but we want to start a new layer. Make sure we lock that one so we don't touch it, and then here is where we put in the details with this paintbrush tool. We can just go ahead and draw, essentially, not in the same color as before though. Let's make it a black color, like so. We can, for example, draw in the nose. Once we click on the layer, we can draw on the nose. I'm drawing on a mouse currently, so it's gonna be rough, but and then we can put in a kind of face shape for our guy, and maybe some hair. And some kind of detailing, and I'll go ahead and clean this up a little bit later once I've decided what I want, but I'm just going to show you some of the basic things to do with this. For the body, I know I don't want a kind of square body, I want it kind of roundish, but also remember, guys, to take your time with this part, as these will be where you can start building up your silhouettes and shapes. So I'm going to make my ones a bit more round, and for example the legs, I know that they want to be completely straight and flat, so I'm gonna go and make a box for them similar to following the guideline, like so. And I will also just change the fill color to black, and also just take off the outline at the moment, just so I don't affect it. And I'll go ahead and select everything and change the fill color to black as well. There we go. Oh, I think I missed the hair out, the nose a little bit. Hopefully you just select it with the selection tool and fill it out. Maybe I need to fill it up, but yeah, something similar to that. As we can see, we're starting to get the silhouette. And then for the arm, we want to just basically duplicate this for this leg, essentially, because I wanted the same shape. So we're gonna hold Alt and click and move it up a little bit. I'm gonna change the color a little bit so it's more easily seen. I'll just change it for all intents and purposes. I might change it to be maybe a bit gray, something like that. And if you wanted to round it out, you can hold the little circle around the corner and we can round it out like so. And we can also, for example, make it longer or shorter, something like there seems about the right shape. And then for the arms, I'm going to duplicate it again, keep it in the same position, and I'm going to go and squish it down and make it into the ball shape, overlap it and make it a little bit bigger. And we get this kind of shape, and it's pretty rough, but it will start getting to it as we're slowly building up the characters. It's easier to work on something that you have things to build on instead of just a completely blank canvas. Oh, I forgot the shoes, so I'm going to draw kind of like some nice shoes like this guy has. Let me see if I can get those in. Little pointy tip. There we go. And let me just fill that in. maybe I need to select it. There we go. Cool. Now we have a nice base. Oh, it's got that. It still has that like random outline, but it'll be fine for now. You can change it to whatever color you would like later on. So at this point we have a nice block out. We know his silhouette. The next thing we do is building on to our model and giving it the finesse that we want it to have, aka the detail. I mean, you can be happy with this as well, but I am not. So I'm going to start off with the leg. So I'm going to call it some L or right leg. Typically, the naming conventions of this will be to the perspective of your character itself. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go, because the leg is this long and I know it, I'm just going to cut it through. So I'm going to go press Control X, which will cut that leg, and then I'm going to go into the... Ooh, I've kind of crashed. 1 second. Okay, that was a bit weird. But anyway, back to my layer. I'm going to go press Control Shift V to paste it in where it was previously. If you press Control V, it'll place it to some random location. And I'm gonna go and make everything invisible, so I can focus on this on one leg. After that, so our rig does work. We want to have a curved kind of ends of the limbs, so that once we start rotating this thing, or start rigging or doing any animation with it, it won't kind of it won't have any like weird outlines or like weird stretching. So the best way to do that is make sure that your guides are turned on with your smart guides, and we're gonna go to the ellipse tool, L, and we're gonna do we're gonna just go make a we're gonna go make a circle. Let me just click off of this circle first so that it doesn't select it, and then we're gonna go and hover over it. It will say anchor, and then we're gonna go to the other anchor and go a little bit down holding shift, and that will give us the perfect circle. And we are gonna move this guy up now to where it says intersect, and this will mean it has intersected. I'm gonna duplicate this by holding. I can tell that this will be in the center by holding pressing Control Y, and this gives me outline mode. And if I look at it, it is perfectly in the center. I'm gonna do one for the elbow. I mean, not the elbow, but it will be similar for the elbow, where I will find it and alt click and drag to the center of this guy, and I'll do one to the bottom. And this is your basic setup for your limbs essentially. As if I were to rotate this guy, pressing R goes to the rotate tool, I can set the anchor point. If I put it to the center of this, select both of these guys, and select the center of that. I can rotate these around. Oh, before I do that, I need to separate them into two. So I need to move this one up, or I need to move that one. I need to move this block. It's a little bit finicky. Make sure you get it correct. Somewhere like that. I want to make it a bit more perfect. Somewhere like that. I will also realign this because it has gone off a little bit. Not by much though. And then I will go click here and alt click to bring it down. And now if I select the bottom half, press R to and click on where it says center, I can now rotate that, and it should allow me to rotate the legs with like seamless effort, and you won't see any seam lines or like square basically. And once you get this set up right, you can easily change this to change the leg to however you want it to look. Another thing that you can do to push this out, and a few more tools to show you, is if I use my direct selection tool, which is this one, I can highlight and select maybe the top half of this and press S and hold shift and scale upwards just a little bit. So this indicates if my shift is not really doing it too well, but we can, let me just Control Z that quickly. It might be my the smart guides messing it up a little bit. But essentially we can make the top side of the thigh a little bit bigger, and then we can taper off the middle side. So if we go back to direct selection, select those guys, press S and scale from center again. That is definitely not correct. So that we get a natural kind of line going downwards, like I'll get it eventually. It is a bit finicky. give me a moment. It was a little bit finicky, so I went and checked what was going on by changing the colors. What you need to be careful of is you need to select the whole circle actually for this one, and if you press shift and move up and down, this should eventually get you slightly closer to where you want to be. It's still a little bit finicky, but you can see that it's trying its best to get there. All I want is a little bit. You want to make sure you move up and down as well instead of left and right. I've already probably messed it up a little bit, so let's move it up to the side a little bit like that. I want to move the diagonally like so. It's only a little bit, but as you can see, the taper does really affect it. But those are a few new tools with the direct select and also the scale tool. And of course, you can always change these paths around if you wish as well. Like if I were to change this path, I can change the path with the direct select tool as well. So the next step is essentially you fleshing out the rest of the model and just making sure you split them up in the right position. So for example, my right leg, I will split, take things out. I'll cut things out of here like the balls and things, and and separate them out to be right thigh, right calf, for example, and right foot when I get onto the shoe, and just keep them really split up. And just go ahead and put in more details and play around with the colors and stuff. And yeah, just the example one that has been split up. As you can see, I've split up in certain wrists, arms, biceps, tops, feet and stuff, and this can be easily translated and put into After Effects afterwards, which I will show you how, and you can start rigging afterwards, but rigging is for a different time. So just a reference to how I would import this is I will go and find my thing. Let's see, there we go, drag and drop it in, and this will give me an option to import footage or composition when you want it to be composition. And once you uploaded it, double click on here. Those are all your layers separated. As you can see, I can move this separated and stuff like that. But cool, that shows you guys how to go create a character in Illustrator and bring it towards After Effects for rigging. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.